Today's topic is one I'm very passionate about. It's about adjustments. Now you're saying to yourself, what does she mean by adjustments? You go to the chiropractor and the chiropractor makes an adjustment to your body. What does that do? That gets you in line, that lines you up so that you're not in pain or you don't have any sort of problem. So you want to make some adjustments. So today I'm going to talk to you in this video about adjustments to your finances, your lifestyle, your work-life balance, and then relationships. All right, so I want you to think about for a moment as we talk about an adjustment to our finances. I like to start with that one because sometimes people don't want to think about making an adjustment to their finances. But in these times that we've been going through lately, there's been a tremendous amount of adjustment to our finances. Why? Because everything has gone up in price. Everything costs more. You used to go to the grocery store and be able to get a cart full of groceries for around $100. Well, that's not even possible anymore. So we've had to make an adjustment. What have you done to adjust to that? And going back to the previous video, have you had a poor attitude about making that adjustment? So think about it for a moment. Have you made an adjustment? This is something I've done very consciously, probably for the last 3 years, very consciously, is coupons come out every Wednesday. So I make sure that I clip my digital coupons every Wednesday so that when I go to the store for the week, I can have that adjustment to the grocery bill. And I'm very conscious to have my list and to buy mainly what is on that list. So I'm not doing so much impulse buying. That is an adjustment to my spending, to my finances, to what I can spend and cannot spend. Okay? What other adjustment to your finances? Maybe you haven't been able to have a savings account for very long. Well, then what can you do to make an adjustment to that savings account? Do you put aside $5 every day? I had a friend of mine who every day at the end of the day, she would put a jar for just their change. And it was amazing. They would put that change into the bank. And it was amazing after like 20 years how much money they had saved. And just by making that small adjustment to their finances, they were able to save a tremendous amount. Sometimes it's not those major adjustments that make the difference. It's sometimes those smaller adjustments that we tend to forget about. But then too, I go back to attitude again. If we have a poor attitude about that adjustment, well, then we're going to be very upset about that. So back to the adjustment with the finances. And then what happened with me I'm saving the money on my grocery bills, but then I'm also, when I go to get gas, the other day I had $1 off on my gas. Well, that makes a huge difference. So just by even making the small adjustments, sometimes we think, oh, I have to do this and I have to do that. And we wait for those major adjustments to come forth. If we start making small adjustments along the way, they're much easier to take. All right? So my next one is lifestyle adjustments. All right, so what are lifestyle adjustments? It goes back to attitude again. Like when I get up in the morning, what kind of adjustment do I need to make to my lifestyle? Maybe I used to not be a planner so much, and I would wait until the last minute to do something. Well, what has that gotten me? For me personally, it's given me a lot of anxiety, a lot of angst, where I'm like, oh, now I don't have any time to do this. Versus an adjustment to my lifestyle. Okay, I need to get these things done by the end of the week. What am I going to do? It's kind of like on a to-do list. Most people will say make a to-do list and knock out the easiest things first. If you knock out the hardest things first, guess what? You're not dreading them the whole time you're doing the other ones. And yes, that may seem like a simple adjustment, but it's huge in the long run because you're making that change, that adjustment to your, not only your attitude about what you're doing, but your adjustment to the pattern and the cycle that you've gotten into in what you're doing. So what other lifestyle adjustments come up? Maybe every morning you're in the habit of getting on your phone and answering emails. Is that the most productive? Or should you make an adjustment of waking up first thing in the morning and praying? That's been a huge adjustment for me. I can't say that every day I didn't pray, yes, but when I am conscious to get up and I journal with the Lord every morning, and that has made all the difference for me. I sit with the Lord and let him speak to me as I journal. Not only do I capture his messages to me, but then it gives me that calm and that peace every day to go forth. So I challenge you in maybe making a small adjustment into your lifestyle. What are those small things you can think about doing? All right. Now, the next one, the work-life balance. When I was teaching full-time, this was probably the most difficult for me. I would come home and I would be, of course, exhausted, but then I had papers to grade, lesson plans to do, you name it. And I just had no work-life balance. I would get up every morning exhausted. I would go to bed every night exhausted. I would go to work exhausted because I really didn't have that balance. I put anything and everything into my teaching, which is, I'm not saying is a bad thing, but it is for my work-life balance. And my husband would always say to me, let's make that adjustment. Let's make an adjustment to, no, you're not grading papers all night. No, you're not grading papers all weekend. You need to take a break. And I had to consciously make those adjustments. But then once I stopped teaching, then I was like, what do I do? I'm not in this cycle that I was in before, where I would constantly be on almost like a treadmill of that. Another work-life balance is, do you take time for yourself? We have been told, at least I was told growing up, that it was very selfish to take care of yourself. Well, guess what? If you don't, you can't take care of anybody else. And my health often would suffer because I wasn't taking care of myself. So it's that work-life balance. There's time for everything, but you have to make it a priority to do so. So think about, what are lifestyle adjustments? What are things that people are saying to you that you don't have time for, or maybe that you are upset you don't have time for? And I'm not saying to waste time. I got into a bad habit, if I would say so, of spending too much time maybe answering emails. Did I have to spend all that time answering the email? And there was another procrastination thing where I'd wait and I don't want to answer that email quite yet. Well, why didn't I just knock that out? Because every time I went to answer an email, then I thought about that one I didn't want to answer. So again, think about what adjustments can you make, and just start small. Don't go with big, huge adjustments, okay? All right. Last one we're going to talk about today is relationships. When we make adjustments in our relationships, that can change so many things. Think about all the different relationships we have in our life. If you're married, you have a spouse, but we have friendships. Depending on your age, you might have parents, grandparents, bosses, co-workers, all kinds of relationships. What adjustments do you need to make in your relationships? When we do marriage consulting with our engaged and married couples, we talk about this quite a bit. We talk about the adjustments that need to be made. One of the biggest things that we've encountered with most of our couples is they overcommit for the holidays. They want to go see her parents and his parents. And sometimes if the parents are separated or divorced, then they're going to both sets of parents. We had one couple one time that had 7 commitments for the holidays. And we said, what are you thinking? Why don't you make the adjustment and start your own tradition? You say, you know what? We're going to see you at different times. We're going to do our own tradition, our own thing that we want to do. So they had to make a major adjustment. That was more of a major adjustment that involved a lot of people of changing things up. But maybe you can't start that major and you say, okay, I'm going to just start with something small. Maybe there's a person in your life that's always crossing a boundary. How can you make the adjustment to help them not cross that boundary? It really starts with us. What can you say? Say, I'm sorry, but I just don't have time for you today. I still care about you. I still want to spend time with you, but not today. So I want you, as I close today, I want you to think about let's just take 3. What are 3 adjustments you can make small right away where it will make a profound difference in your life? What is it? Maybe it's an adjustment to your attitude. Maybe it's an adjustment to a relationship. Maybe it's an adjustment to your spending. Maybe it's an adjustment to your work-life balance. Maybe it's an adjustment to just how you wake up in the morning. I encourage you, I even challenge you to start the morning and end your day with the Lord. Make that adjustment your priority, and that will make all the difference. So I ask you to join me for my next video, which will again be another A. Now I have to cheat and look at it. It is acceptance. So I look forward to seeing you on the next video about acceptance. Thank you.